You think you can't become a faster or stronger runner after the age of 40? Meet Sean Lee, who started running at the age of 45.
Nothing valuable in life comes easy. You have to put that in a perspective where if I want to get something good, you have to work at it.
At the age of 55, this Los Angeles runner has accomplished more than most other runners can dream of. 17 marathons with a personal best of 2:54, 2 full Ironmans and 25 ultra marathon races, including UTMB, Badwater 135 and the Angeles Crest 100 mile.
3 weeks ago, I had a great race. I was able to put everything together. All the mistakes that I had and all the new things that I learned.
But Sean's real breakthrough didn't come from just raw talent. It came from finally practicing what he preached.
Even I taught others how to run, how to prepare, race, training and all that. But I realized I wasn't even the one who was actually doing it.
His game changer, humbling himself and finally applying the lessons he's been teaching others. And the results speak for himself.
I was running last 20 miles, like first 20 miles.
In this conversation, Sean reveals the critical mistakes that held him back for a decade and how slowing down at the beginning transformed his entire approach to racing. If you think age is slowing you down or you've hit your peak, this episode will show you that it's never too late to level up. This episode was brought to you by LMNT. I just came back from a family vacation in Hawaii and it was hot and humid out there. I went on several different hikes and runs, and hydration is absolutely critical. An electrolyte replacement is very important in those conditions as well. This is where LMNT came in. It is packed with a perfect balance of sodium, potassium and magnesium. No sugar, no junk. I've been using it daily and it has made a huge difference for me. No cramping, no mid-run energy crashes and much faster recovery after those hot, sweaty sessions. Many runners in our personal best coaching program also enjoy using LMNT on a daily basis. My go-to flavors lately have been orange and watermelon, especially fresh after a hot run. If you want to give LMNT a try, they offer a free sample pack with any order. This is a great way to test their popular flavors. And every order comes with a no-question-asked money-back guarantee. Just head over to drinklmnt.com/flow. That is DRINKLMNT.com/FLO. Hope you enjoy my episode with Sean Lee. Sean!
All right, man.
Welcome to the Extra Miler Show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We just went on a beautiful morning run on the trails. That was a nice one.
Oh, yeah. Every time when we get a chance to go out, it's a happy day. I can't complain, right?
Yeah, best day to best beginning of the day for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we can take this conversation in a lot of different directions. And I think over the years, I've seen you grow quite a bit in your running, both in the road running front, in the trail running, in the ultra running space. Maybe we can start out earlier when you and I were running, you were talking about learning from mistakes. So maybe we can start out in that area. Over the years, you've made your fair share of mistakes. But you have recently had several races too where things start to click. What advice would you give to your younger self, given some of the mistakes you have made? Or what are some of those things that stand out to you that you do differently now in your training or in your racing?
I think that's a great question. I've been running for about 10 years. Started with the road running, not having any really goal, but I knew I could run. So I started running with them and, I joined local running club. And everybody had their own goal. And of course, I had my own goal as well. But just running itself, I realized it doesn't really cut it. You have to have some sort of plan. You need to have a goal. You want to go to a race and all that too. So I'm doing a little bit of study here and there, try to apply to my own race when training. And now looking back 10 years later, I've learned a lot and realized I didn't really apply everything that I learned in my race. Even I taught others how to run, how to prepare, race, training and all that. But I realized I wasn't even the one who was actually doing it. So it turned out 3 weeks ago, I had a great race. I was able to put everything together, all the mistakes that I had and all the new things that I learned. So because I was, decent runner, I became a little bit arrogant in some sense. So I can skip this, I can skip that, and still pull some, decent time. Didn't realize I was still missing a lot of information in terms of running, preparing before, during, and after the race. So I was looking at one of my close friend, Chad, and I was so impressed how much he improved by putting consistent training with his trainers. And then he was actually running faster than I am. I was shocked, and I was kind of a little ashamed too. So what I did was actually went to him and asked a lot of questions. And the most recent race, I applied every single thing he taught me. So I kind of humbled myself. I'm not a fast runner. I'm not whatever. I'm going to apply what I'm going to learn from this guy and put it into my race.
Can you mention some examples? Like what were a few of the things? I think nutrition was one of them.
Nutrition was a major issue. All my friends knew I'm known as a hamburger guy because during the race, I eat a hamburger. Like I crave for real food.
This is during ultra races. So this is not you doing a half marathon or a marathon and plowing away hamburgers.
No. Actually, during ultra race, running 100 miles, I crave real food like hamburger, pizza, whatever they can give me at the aid station. So if they don't have it, I'm in big trouble. That's what happened last year. So this year, I prepare like real food. I went to Costco, I bought those frozen hamburgers and put them on drop bag. We happened to have 8 drop bags. So I had hamburgers and pizza. Well, I had to freeze it. It was a frozen pizza and hamburger because I had to drop up the drop bags the day before. So by the time when I picked it up, they're all ready to go. But besides that, I needed to replenish myself every 30 minutes. I taught others nutrition is super important, keep eating, whatever, but I wasn't doing that before. So most of my races, if it is a 100-mile race, I had problem in mile 80 or 75. Mm-hmm. But this time, every 30 minutes, I set my watch. So every 30 minutes, it beeps and shows me the picture of a drinking cup that I need to eat. So I was taking either gel or drinking or powder or real food every 30 minutes. And it was a completely different game. Till the end of the race, I was not hungry. I was full of energy. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But actually, I was running last 20 miles, like first 20 miles.
The one thing that we have talked about briefly previously is the whole relying on aid stations versus not. And this applies to any race distance. I've seen it in the 10K and the half marathon and the marathon where people think, an aid station is going to have water, it's going to have Gatorade, it's going to have gels, it's going to have this. Or even sometimes a race would say they would have certain gels. And I think both you and I have been in race experience where you heavily rely on it and it's not there. They might have already gone through all of it, or it's not set up, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I hear it quite a few times in the personal best program too, where people say like, I went to this race and they ran out of gels and my whole race went like south. Where this is where we often talk about anything that you can control, try to control it. I personally don't rely on aid stations anymore other than for water. And that even when I'm running marathons, I do that. But I think even in your case, like being aware of like, hey, I crave some additional foods outside of whatever gels you can bring on. Mm-hmm. And so taking some of those own steps and actions, I think is a great way about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, when you spend enough money on your races and enough training, you want to make sure you put everything else as well for your training. So I think that's another thing that I was a little different this time. I wasn't shy about maybe buying extra gels, even gels with the caffeine, different brands, multiple flavors. Because you come to realize if you eat, it doesn't matter how much you like one gel. If you eat the same gel for, let's say, 10 times, it's hard to really swallow it.
Yeah, so this was an interesting one. You told me that with some of your races, on purpose, you don't only buy different flavors, but you buy different brands too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, obviously a different brand has a different texture, different flavors, and different nutrition ingredients. So, of course, you want to test them out before the race. Of course, it's obvious. But you want to have multiple flavors, multiple densities. And even some of them has extra caffeine. So if in case you needed caffeine during nighttime, if you don't have access to coffee or caffeine, yeah, it might be a good way to do it. So everything worked out really awesome.
So how has some of your training evolved? Like you and I spoke about your earlier years of training and racing, and like sometimes there's injuries along the way, sometimes there's different learnings about intensities. Can you tell me a bit more about your early years and how some of your training has changed over the years?
Okay, my training, at the beginning, I didn't have any training plan. I just ran whatever, and if race comes in, I just go running as fast as I can, right? Whether I crash or finish well. But over the time, I realized there should be some sort of structure. And that's how I ran into the program, Best Run program. And also I ran into marathon or low heart rate training. Luckily, I guess during COVID, all the races got canceled. So I got nothing better to do but just go out and run slow, easy with some friends. That's when I really implemented my low heart rate training, building the base. And upon that, I was so confident any race, I can just go run it. I mean, not maybe, super fast, but being able to finish the run and enjoy it, meaning I have the, enough base on that. So that was super important. And this time when I ran a recent race, it's called AC 100. I had a chance to watch Killian's recording as he's preparing for Western State. Because, Killian is known for running all these mountains, but Western State is a running race. So he actually run speed training and, run flat. And I realized, this makes so sense. Just because I'm running the trail in the mountain, that doesn't mean I have to be on the mountain going up and down all the time. Because the race Angeles Crest 100, there's a lot of running, especially toward the end. So I realized, I need to put some running, like speed workout to my training. So last 10 years when I prepared for my trail race, I never had track workout. I took it out and I was always in the mountain running the course or, in the mountain running the trails. But this time, no, not really. On the weekend, I was on the trail running. But on the weekdays, actually, I was at the track doing the speed workout, tempo workout, and also, doing other strength workout, which kind of combines everything together.
It's kind of funny how it was for me. It was vice versa. I was training for road races like a half marathon or a marathon, and I started dabbling into trail running because I felt like, it was nice, it was easy, time on feet, and like changing of terrain, and it would still be beneficial for road running. Whereas for you did it the other way around, where it kind of helps bring your speed legs back with some of your speed sessions and whatnot.
Definitely. On the race after mile 70, there's some road section. It's kind of slight downhill, running road hill. And I don't know, some of the people, they couldn't run, they started walking down. And for me, it was like, this is almost like running the track. Easy. Just, use the gravity, just run, enjoying the view. And I was having and the funny thing is, I don't think I was even running fast, but I was moving well. I don't want to call myself running because I didn't run all the time. I would just keep moving and I was eating well.
The eating is such an interesting one. Like during I think half marathons, you can get away with not eating, or like quite often you don't. Once you start going to longer, towards the beginning of a race, you feel fine eating. And then towards the end, even during a marathon, I think often people kind of get flavor fatigue or they just get overeating. Like they just don't want to take in any calories or their stomach might get a bit upset or whatnot. And then the longer you get, the more food plays a bigger role in it. But it's an interesting one to find creative ways to keep it exciting to eat, take calories in. Where some people really like mixing up the flavors, whereas I'm like, I need to stick to the same, like this works. So I think once again, everyone is different here, right? And try and error. But I think the alarm is a good reminder there to at least not forget to take that in. The interesting thing when looking at your training is running is just one component. And you're 55 years old now?
55 and a half, turning 56 pretty soon.
There you go. So strength training, very important. But then again, even cross training to get the amount of training you want to be doing, you're doing several different activities.
I do a little bit of rock climbing, indoor rock climbing, or sometimes I'll go outdoor. I don't like going into the gym, doing the workout and paying all this membership fee, but I want to have fun. So my alternative was going to climbing gym so I can work out on my upper bodies and core, the back. Because, we already know that running doesn't require only the leg strength. It requires a lot of your core, your back, your upper body muscles too, right?
So to anyone listening who might be like, oh, climbing gym, that sounds hard, that sounds far away. I've never done any climbing. I'm only familiar with like possibly picking up a weight or never doing strength training. What advice do you have to someone who has never climbed before? Or what advice do you have to someone who wants to possibly even try what you're just talking about here?
Well, first of all, you got to have an attitude that you want to try something new. You shouldn't be fear of doing it because not every, rock climbing is not for everyone, obviously, but there might be something else that you can have fun in it. For me, fun is the most important thing. Even running has to be fun. If it's not fun, why do I do that? Climbing is also fun. For me, it makes sense, going, climbing and exercising at the same time. So they want to be a little bit open-minded. Try a different thing. It doesn't have to be climbing. It could be something else that you can be benefited physically and also mentally. So I'll definitely recommend trying different things. And of course, finding a friend who can take you there. By yourself is kind of overwhelming and intimidating, I'm sure. I always like that too. So you can reach out to friends or somebody, coworkers, I
think that is such a good point there. Like, I think we can't emphasize enough when something feels intimidating. First of all, you can break it down in smaller steps and not think that you have to climb to the top of a mountain right away. You can go to a climbing gym and you can like sign up for a beginner class. Can make sure you learn the basics of bouldering and you can literally do very gentle, small, easier stuff first, which is almost like walking upstairs with your hands and feet. And then from there on, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But the part of doing it with a friend, that's some of my cross-training activities or some of my newer things. I just did it with friends and it made it much easier. And sometimes they're more experienced than me. Sometimes we both go into the unknown. But for me, going to the gym with to the climbing gym with a few people who had climbed before, it just took off the pressure and they show you how it's done. And then together with a beginner class. Also for me, when I first got into the swimming pool to start swimming, this was literally when I think it was when I turned around 40. I was like, I'm too old to learn like that. I was like, no, let's actually just go in there, drop the ego, just go with a beginner mindset. And the interesting thing is, like, once I went, and it became a little bit easier, not trying to go too fast, because I think everyone makes the mistake in the pool at the beginning of trying to go too fast, not knowing how to breathe, thinking of too many things at once. But
I've been there, done that.
I think many of us and so, I think taking that humble approach and not trying to rush it. And
Well, you brought the swimming part. I did triathlon too. So I from like almost zero background swimming, I went full Ironman, but I had the same approach, just humble myself and then just learn from people. And I think you made a good point that sometimes we try too much, especially when swimming. If you try too much, you make too much splash and create drags, and actually it works against you. So you got to go with the flow, easy, and enjoy it. And then soon you'll be like, oh, water's now my enemy. You can go with it. Just like running too. A lot of people approach the running as if it is like homework. And I don't like that approach. Running should be reward. You get reward after a good, hard day of working, family time. You give yourself a gift. You go out there, have fun, and you're like, oh, thank you so much. I can run now. A lot of people, they go like, oh man, I have to go run again. So from the get-go, I think people need to approach in a different manner. And the reason why people are having a hard time like really enjoying it is because they push too hard from the beginning. Go easy. If it's hard, walk.
But even applying that to swimming, right? Because I think to running, sometimes there's the approach of the run-walk approach. Like you run for a minute, you walk for a minute, and like you alternate, and then eventually you start running a little bit more and walking a little bit less. I don't know why I didn't think of that in swimming. I was like, I just have to keep going.
I was like, because you're afraid that you're going to sink.
And then my friend was like, you can just swim to the other side of the pool and then hold on and catch your breath and then go back again. I was like, there's something to it. It's like, yeah. One thing we have previously talked about is the way we talk to ourselves. And like coaching, like you mentioned, sometimes I have an easy time coaching other people. But then I don't apply those lessons to myself. Tell me about that a bit more, because I think that's quite recognizable for some people too.
I guess sometimes, we think of ourselves really highly. So we don't belong to that rule. Right? Like whether it's a nutrition, hydration, or training, we talk about like, don't push too hard because you're going to get injured. But you think that, it applies to other people, not me. And you go out and you run hard. Even your recovery run, you try to show up, like you run like 8-minute pace, whatever. And like, this is my recovery pace. I've done that too. I realized, oh my God, I'm like living double standard. And in order to become really, good runner, that you have to be true to yourself. And if you're teaching or coaching, if you believe something, you have to apply to yourself. And my recent race taught me so much about myself. I mean, I was happy that I had a good result, but more than that, I was like, it taught me so much about myself, not only running, but as a human, as a person. I was like, I am this kind of person. I was saying one thing, but I wasn't even following what I was saying. And that if I did follow, probably I could have had a better result back then than I realized.
Yeah. In the last 3 months, I've been working with a life coach on my own.
Okay.
And it's been very helpful just to put things in perspective sometimes. Like as much as I'm coaching a variety of different people, I think sometimes just guiding, like being surrounded by other guides or mentors or coaches or whatnot. And one of the things indeed is very much in line with what you just said there. It's very easy to be like, you got to be patient. You got to be kind with yourself. You got to slow down. You got to have grace with yourself. And then here I am internally sometimes beating myself up like this is not going right. Or this is, and where it's like, you wouldn't talk to someone else like that, the way you talk to yourself sometimes. And it's like, hey, take a step back and almost see yourself as a different person. And you're coaching this person. What would you say?
Yeah.
And like that's been an interesting
It's like you coming out of yourself in the air, kind of looking at yourself and telling yourself, hey, Sean, hey, Flo, hey, let's not go that route, or, but then many times you get emotional in situation or circumstances and we forget and we try to get things done. A lot of times we have this let's get it done mentality, but then I realized we were missing out on a lot of like really important stuff, especially in life, raising kids. We talked about that a little bit, because we get emotional, and even with our spouses too. And I guess another thing that I was a little different this time around was when I went to race, I was so peaceful in my heart. Other races, I had my time goal, each aid station, I got to hit that, start, X amount of time, whatever. I don't know, somehow this time I had like less expectation, and I had time goal, but it was like plan B or plan C time. So when I went in, I was really peaceful, and me and my wife, my kids, and relationship wise, everything's in tune, great, work. I had nothing to worry about anything else. And just me being out there in the trail and the race, having a great time. I think for me, now I realize it makes a lot of sense. When we go out on a race or some sort of a journey, we have a lot of baggages in the back. We worry about things like, oh man, my payments, mortgage payment, car payments, my job, my health, someone else's health, whatever. So we worry about things and we go away to forget those things sometimes. But if you don't have that, everything is, in life is in balance, then going out, doing a race or something is another reward gift. So you get to enjoy more. And I think you can end up resulting better.
It's fascinating you say that though, like going into a race with like less time goal expectations, with just running for to whatever fitness level you have and whatever that the day gives you. And I've often seen that with people. It's less pressure and a better result.
Oh, yeah. Right? Took me 10 years to really apply that. Yeah,
and this is where sometimes I have people asking like, what finish goal time should I go for in 4 months or in 6 months? And it's like, let your fitness do what it does in the coming period. Make a rough estimation even and train some of those paces and become familiar with race pace or become familiar with what it's like. But eventually, like, I think it was Nikki who I had on one of the very first podcasts, and she was a mother of 2. And she told me very specific. She doesn't set a time goal, but then about 6 weeks out, she just looks at where am I at fitness wise? And from there, she makes some adjustments to like speed work or some of these modifications. But I thought that was a wonderful way of doing it. And it just takes away some of that pressure, really.
Yeah. And also you want to make the adjustments on a race day during the race. Because, you know, sometimes you feel like, a lot of times when you go on a race, at the starting line, you're all pumped up. It's like, I think I'm feeling it today. I think I can do really well. And then you push. And then if it is marathon, like mile 20, you go like, oh man, I should have slowed it down at the beginning, right? We all have the experience. Having that, I guess, discipline, to being able to control your, like at first half. We always talk about negative split. You want to run slower at the beginning to have, you know, like more strength to run strong finish at the end. Unless and until you actually try and apply it, it's hard to really put into practice. Because, you know, you're afraid that, what if I don't have any more, you know, I need to bank some time. And we always do that. I did that too. But this race, I was actually pushing myself to run slower. And I was like, okay, let's not go fast. I couldn't run faster, but let's not go fast. You know, race doesn't start till later. I was keep reminding myself. In marathon, we always talk about marathon starts mile 20?
20,
yeah, right?
Rest is just a long warm-up.
Exactly. But how many people do actually warm up during 20 miles? They try to go fast as they can, and then last 20 mile, their pace goes like, right?
Yeah, I think it applies to many distances indeed.
Oh, yeah.
From 5K all the way to
5K,
ultra.
10K, exactly.
Like ultras as well.
But you want to, you made a great point. I need to know what my pace is, what I'm comfortable running 10K, 5K, half marathon, full marathon, whatever the distance you're running. First, you have to know your pace. And then on a race day, if you're not feeling it, maybe you need to notch it down a little bit. Or if you're feeling a little better, you can comfortable. Of course, you need to check your heart rate, whatever. And then with those, monitoring system helps you to either go faster or lower.
I do want to talk a little bit more about strength training, mobility, like in particular for runners 40, 50, 60 and beyond. So you were mentioning running, sometimes trail running. I know you do some hiking from time to time, there's swimming. What about anything else like climbing? You mentioned, I think, even cycling.
Well, I started from cycling. I do have a cycling background. I talked about a little bit. I did triathlon. So I did mountain biking, cycling. So I try to mix things together. Because, running, sometimes you get not bored, but you feel like, I need something else in my life. So you bring in a different thing. And strength workout. Near my house, there's a stairs. It's called Hillcrest. It's basically stairs in a park. So when I feel like I need to work out my legs, I just hit there. And sometimes I bring my weight vest, put in either 16 pound, 20 pound, or 10 pound, whatever I could put it in there. I just go up and down, making sure I get hydrated. And
tell me more about the rucking. So weight vest, because I've heard different people having different experiences with it. For anyone listening who has zero experience with it, or for someone who wants to experiment with it, tell me, how would you go about it? What advice do you have for people starting out with that?
Okay, if you want to try with the weight vest, definitely you want to start with something light. Because many times when you go out either running race or even hiking, adventures, most likely you have to carry something on your back.
So what would you consider light?
I would say like extra water. So you want to carry your either hydration vest with extra water, 1 bottle extra waters or 2 bottles. So obviously, you'll be carrying a little bit more. And once you get comfortable, myself, I purchased those weight vests and those got little sand weight in it. So instead of going all out, because probably a good chance that you're going to get injured or you're not going to really enjoy it. So I'll start off with maybe a couple blocks, front and back, balancing it.
So that is what? 10 pounds? No, is it 8 pounds, 5 pounds?
I would say probably like additional about 2 to 4 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, you're starting up like that. And once you feel comfortable and making sure your joints are okay, you have no pain in your back, no ankle, no knee issues, then you can add a little bit more. And also, it has to do with your distance. You don't want to be running so much or going too far, because sometimes if you do too much, again, it's not good for you either. So you want to kind of keep monitoring how you feel, whether it's really helping you or really killing you.
It's an interesting one because sometimes when you put on a vest and let's say it's a little bit heavier, 15 pounds or 20 pounds, when you first put it on, you think like, oh, this is totally doable. But when you're a few miles in, or when you go up a hill in particular, people underestimate how much of an impact that makes over time.
Yeah.
I also sometimes see people doing races, whether it's a marathon with a vest and a pack or even longer distances, but they haven't necessarily trained that much with it, realizing that, hey, all of a sudden I'm running with a pack that is 5 kilos or 10 pounds or however much, and it totally changes their gait, it changes the way their run feels. And so I think just being aware of how it impacts your running, it's an important one there.
So when you prepare for a race, you want to train yourself, not only in terms of speed, but what you want to carry. For example, I went to Paris and run a Paris marathon and realized everyone's carrying their backpacks or their hydration vests on a marathon. I was wondering why. It turned out that race, the marathon didn't give away no gels. They actually had the cubics of sugar.
Really?
Yeah, in a marathon, right? So I was like, oh my God. I mean, I wasn't planning to run it, so I ended up running it. So I needed some gel. Guess what I did?
You short.
I was searching for the gels on the floor, the ground.
Wow.
Because people try to eat and they drop one here and there, right?
That's hardcore.
Yeah, so people were running. I didn't want to get stuck in the middle. So what I did was, as soon as I found one, I kicked it to the side of the street. Because there's no runners, right? Then they picked it up. And so I had like 2-3 gels like that.
That's a creative way of doing it, man.
Yeah. But point is, if you want to run a race with a bag or some weight on it, definitely you want to prepare and train with it. Or a little bit heavier, maybe not too much, so that on a race day you'll be comfortable. Yeah. I think that's only physically good, but also mentally, you know that you prepare. So when it comes, I was like, okay, I've done this before.
I think the rucking is a nice way to add in some weights, even just on hikes, right? To make hikes a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Like if you have a hike in your area, maybe it's not as steep, or maybe you're looking for a slightly additional challenge, or maybe even if you're walking your dogs or you're going out with your kids or whatever, just being able to put on some additional weights and train with that.
Yeah.
It's a low impact, but still gradual way of adding some strength.
Definitely, yeah.
So, what about mobility? You do anything there?
I did, but that's something that I need to work on. I'm not a perfect human being. So that's something that I need to work on. And, I've been going through some apps on YouTube. It's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, I'm I'm 55-year-old guy. My body is not turning as used to be. That's actually my next project, that I want to be able to spend more time in mobility workouts so that, I can run a little longer and have more fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think once again, some of the gentle movements and easing into some of it, it's just once again, we have X amount of time available.
Yeah.
And then we tend to gravitate towards the things we truly enjoy doing or we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And sometimes we push out some of these other things, whether that's strength or mobility or...
Yeah, I come to realize those are actually the most important thing so that we can have a longevity in running.
Yeah.
So again, after 10 years, I realized, those are the things I need to spend more time, more attention to it.
Yeah. So you have, over the years, I know you're part of the Korean running clubs in your area, or you have ran with several different other runners that you have helped guide over the years. What are some high-level recommendations that you have for people kind of getting into running, wanting to either improve their times, wanting to improve their distance, wanting to be a bit more consistent? Do you have any advice there?
For sure. My recommendation would be run slower, run less, and try to find fun in it. It's not, don't be so caught up with your goal, speed. People are going to come around and say, oh, you're ready to run a full marathon. Let's go, whatever. But I would say no. Try to slow down when you build a tall building, you have to spend more time building the foundation so that you'll be stable and raise tall building, right? But I see a lot of people spend less time building the foundation, whether that's a strength workout, mobility workout, or heart rate training. I think there's a combination of all of the above. So spend less time focusing on your goals and running fast, running longer. Spend more time building the base and enjoy it and try to balance it with your life. Because again, even if you run fast, if your life is falling apart, what good is that?
Well, and you were even saying earlier, right? Like with one of your last races, it felt like the rest of your life was in a good place, and it felt like you can run with ease because you had less stress out of your daily life.
Oh, for sure.
And that made some of the adaptations in training and in race day easier there too. So
yeah, imagine you go on a training, your wife is always angry at you. You come back and you went run again. You train again, versus, oh, honey, you came from work. Running. Okay, great. How was your training? And, then you feel much comfortable and you feel like, oh, I'm doing this right.
Plus, he probably knows that you need the running to be the best.
Yes.
You said an interesting thing earlier, and that was running less. Why running less?
Running less meaning don't run. Don't run more than what you're capable of. And just because you're able to run, that doesn't mean that's your capability. I'm talking about speed and distance. People run so much faster than they should and so much longer than they should because they can, not realizing how negatively affecting their body. Mm-hmm. So it takes a long time I'm sure you're the expert here. It takes longer time for your ligaments and joint to get ready to adapt to those kind of speed. Muscles gets built up really quick, so you can run fast. But then it takes longer for your ligaments and other parts to catch up. But if you don't let that happen, you're gonna run into an issue. I have a bunch of friends who thought they're invincible, running 8-minute pace for their recovery after the race. And then now they can't run a whole year because they're injured. So what I mean by run less, it's not don't run, meaning run less than your capabilities. So you have to know your pace and your ability.
Yeah. I think one other part that's interesting is how your runs feel when you're just getting back into running or when you're starting running or when you come back from an injury or whatever versus how it feels after 1 month or 2 months of consistent running. It can be completely different too.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had a conversation with someone who didn't run his whole life and then started running. And he almost did it as a way of torturing himself or like going out there and just putting himself through the ringer. But it took him about a month, and then he went from hating running to actually finding a way to like running. And now he loves running.
Yeah.
And it's this transition. You almost have to get over the hump. And my conversation with Taylor Nips, he said a similar thing where he's like, if you're just getting into running the first several weeks, you might not enjoy it.
If I take a 2-week break from running, I might not love it the first day or week or month back. Like it takes some time to feel better again. So if you've never run in your life and you're 40 or 50 or 60 years old, like a 2-week break compared to however many year-long break, like it might take some more time, but give it a chance.
So what advice do you have for people to get over that hump?
First of all, I guess you don't want to run by yourself. Probably try to hook up with your buddies or family members. With your spouses, start running a little bit. And well, if you want to listen to something, podcast or music, or if you want to listen to something else, it'll help you as well. Don't run too fast. Because a lot of people are hating it. People don't like running because they're huffing and puffing and it's hard. Don't make it hard. Make it easy. Just go run, and if it's hard, start walking. And then if you can catch up your breath and you can start running again a little bit. Don't run too fast.
Last night I had dinner with a friend who said he joined CrossFit. Mm-hmm. He's now really upset. He loves CrossFit. And he's a 50-year-old guy. Mm-hmm. He is now like starting to train kind of second wind in life and getting really into it. And he was saying, I went to one of my first sessions and they talked about all sorts of challenges. And one of the things was like doing 100 push-ups. And he's like, he could do less than 10. And he was like, this is so intimidating. I can't even wrap my head around any of this. But slowly but surely over time, he started doing like, all right, let's do 5 push-ups. And then a little bit later, do 5 push-ups again. And then like just a muscle memory over time. And I think this applies to running, that you become more comfortable over time. This applies to strength training. This applies to many of these different things. We just have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And if it's too hard, just break it down to a smaller step, even if that is doing 1 supported push-up and then doing another again. And over time, it becomes easier. And yeah, I'm constantly amazed by the body.
Yeah.
And how adaptable it is. Yes, it's very, when you train consistent and you get injured, you feel like, oh, I lost all this fitness. But you would be surprised how it comes back again too. You just got to go through the process.
Yeah, I had an injury of rupturing my Achilles from playing basketball October, and I was back in April running a marathon, Boston, because I already paid for it. I bought the tickets. I couldn't, not go. So what I did was just focusing on what I could do, not so much of a speed workout. So I had 0 speed workout, no long run, but just worked on my leg, a little bit of strength workout, the best what I can do. Yes, again, it's understanding your body, what it could do. And my, suggestion for everybody who wants to run a little bit longer, don't worry about the distance. Just start from maybe less than a mile, half mile. In myself too, sometimes people think that I run always like this long, crazy distance. No, like on the weekdays before I go to work, I go to maybe call it the track, and maybe 3 miles, 4 miles. Maybe like 2-minute pace, 30-minute pace, comfortably, just enjoying my run. It doesn't have to be always like training. No.
Yeah, even it's interesting. Like sometimes I have 20 minutes in the morning. And at 20 minutes, it's still, you get a lot of joy out of it.
Yeah.
I recently dropped off my daughter for school. She's now in 7th grade, so she's now riding a bike to school.
Yeah.
And the first few times I rode the bike with her, and then I just keep riding, and I now ride my bike to work. And coming from Europe, I'm so familiar biking everywhere, but I've been standard Americanized, freaking driving everywhere again, right? And so now here I am riding my bike to work, and it's 5 miles, 8K, and then 5 miles back or something like that. It's a very joyful way of just getting another 15, 20 minute exercise in again without even thinking it's exercise. It's just like you either sit in the car for 5 minutes less or you sit on your bike. And so I think the constant movement throughout the day, because you even talked earlier about the mobility being a bit of an afterthought, but I feel very often, like you have a pretty active job, you're on your feet quite a bit, you're moving already, but many of us even listening are probably sitting behind the desk quite a bit. And so I think anything you can do to keep bringing in movement throughout the day. The Europeans are much better at that, and even the Asians who walk into different places and taking the bike or whatnot. But yeah, the more we can do some of the movements. For me, one of the biggest movements that I absolutely love, like Lawrence Van Lingen, he often talks about the awesomizer. And I just noticed, like, it's a really nice way to open your hips.
Oh, I know.
And like you even stretch your calf, your Achilles, like your glutes, like the hamstrings, like all of these different things in one mobility exercise. Quite often, if I have like 1 minute time, I would just do that exercise, even when it's making coffee or grabbing a water or whatever. It's that mobility. If you can tie that in throughout the day, that's a nice way of getting
for sure. Many times we forget how important those things are because we couldn't get by it. But then, at the end of the day, it'll catch up to us when we get older. So that's, none of us are running any faster because we're getting older. So my point was, we need to learn how to run smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear from you. What was one of your most challenging race day experiences, and what was one of your most memorable, exciting race day experiences? Like, it might take you a little bit to think about it, but I would love to talk about those a little bit more because I think there's lessons in both. So do you have like a low in a race that you can think about?
Well, I guess the low part of the race would be, beginning of my running, I guess not a career, but whatever. I wasn't really prepared. So let's say in the middle of the race, telling myself, I'm stupid if I do this again. Because it's not fun. If you're not prepared, going to race. It's hot outside, it's climbing, my legs cramping, and all the worst bad things happening. So I keep telling myself, oh man, I'm not going to do this again. It's crazy, stupid. And then, once you cross the finish line, they go like, oh man, I could have done this better. They're looking for another way to sign up, right? So I think beginning of my race, I had those moments where I said, I'm stupid. Why am I doing this? I'm paying for this and I'm not going to come back to this. But once I start really enjoying the race, I expect those lows. So even if it hit low, it doesn't bother me as much because you expect that. I know Connie Walter talked about that because she's expecting those low moments. I don't want those moments, but when it happens, it's not a big surprise. So you can kind of, deal with it. But my highest, point would be, last race, running last 20 miles. This is crazy. I never thought I was able to do that. But everything has to come together from the equipment points, nutrition, hydration, electrolyte, shoes, extra bandana, extra head, everything, it has to come all together. And my pace management, and that's another great point, that I slowed it down at the beginning of my race, that I was able to run last 20 miles. And I was shocked that I could run like that last 20 miles. I'm sure it's going to be applied to a marathon or 5Ks, whatever. A lot of times people experience, they have a bad taste on the race because their finishing is not strong. Mm-hmm. All right. But if you can flip that and you can have a strong finish, every race is going to be really super memorable.
It really is. I think when you have energy left to give a push towards the end, or at least maintain pace while other people slow down, that just gives you energy again, because you're able to pass people.
You're dropping other runners. I'm like, as if it's not affecting me. It's going uphill. Yeah. They're slowing down. And downhill, even crazier. Downhill, I'm running. They can't run. Then, are you all right? And then just go boom.
Yeah, totally. One thing I'm interested to hear from you is there any running gear that you have found helpful over the years? Like, I think a lot of people put emphasis on shoes, but there's a variety of different things that come into play that can help make your running experience better, more enjoyable. Tell me a little bit more about what have you learned over the years gear-wise? Because there's sometimes people that it's so overwhelming. There's so many different things out there. There's so much hype. A lot of the companies are marketing different things, but what has worked for you?
Well, equipment-wise, wow, there's so much things I can talk about, from the shoes, shorts, baseliners, shirts, hat. But if I were to pick only one, I'll pick the light belt. Because I know a lot of runners running with the headlamp. But that it kind of washes off all the depth of the rock, especially when you run nighttime. I guess if you're hiking, it might be all right. But if you're running at night, we want to be able to see as much as possible, especially downhill, because you don't want to be tripping and fall. Mm-hmm. We all experience when you kick rock, not only you're falling, but also you start cramping too. Mm-hmm. So you want to prevent all that. For me, it was a night and day change when I had the light belt. Was given by a friend of mine, Mr. Don Matthias, who passed away a few years ago. And he was a big part of the AC community. Mm-hmm. And his daughter, Denise, actually, she sent me the light. So whenever I'm running the race with the light, it's like me running with him. Mm-hmm. So it gives me something very special. And yes, I do use both the light belt and the headlamp. So it creates bigger, you can see better visibility, and also it creates more depth on the small rocks and whatever you see on the trail, so that you can kind of go over it.
This is interesting you're saying that, because I've had a few times. Mm. Yes, it's when we're thinking about falling on a run. Mm. Like I do trail running and road running, and typically when I fall, it would be on a trail. Yes. It's not that I fall that frequent, but I've had a few falls on the road as well. Mm-hmm. And a few times it has often been at night with not seeing good depth of field. Yeah. And so I'm someone who has a headlamp, but I don't necessarily have that belt thing over there. But I've ran with several people who do. Mm-hmm. And yes, you're totally right. It does change your perspective. So tell me more, like, what brand do you use? What model do you use? Like, I'm just curious to hear, because right now we're at the end of summer, going into fall. The days are starting to become shorter again. I think a proper headlamp can really make a difference in your running, especially for recreational runners too. So
Okay, I'm using a brand called Ultra Aspire. I think it's 600 lumen. I don't know the exact model because it was given by a friend. They came up with something different, and I do have other friend who runs longer distance, and he loves using that brand. Again, my suggestion would be you go buy one, try it. It doesn't have to be the brand that I'm using, but you want to definitely invest in your health, the belt.
And you wear it clicks around. You wear it as a belt, or you click it on your shorts.
No, click around your waist, and it has a small pocket on the side, so you can carry extra batteries. And yes, I do. Again, I wear my headlamp as well as a backup, so in case when I need to change batteries or something happens, you want to have an extra backup lamp anyway. So I use both of them.
Yeah, that's good. And then nutrition, you mentioned both.
Yes.
For the longer distances, you enjoy gels. Which gels? Like you've mentioned, there's several different brands that you're using. I'm just curious to hear.
On the gels, if I remember correctly, I had Precision gels. Especially I like the 90 gram, the big one, so you can kind of control how much you want to take it in. And then also purchased Molten's one with the caffeine, and other one with a chia seed on it. I forgot the name of the brand. And also, I also bought SIS. Is it called SIS, right?
Yeah, the SIS.
Yes, SIS. They had this new thing. I didn't really like the taste, but then I believe there's good enough nutrition in there, so I kind of suck it up and I ate it. But because I was able to rotate it, it wasn't too bad. But I can't imagine, eating the same flavor like again and again. Then I would probably drop.
There you go. And what about electrolytes?
Electrolytes, I'm using those salt pill by Presson, company called Presson. And I believe they're almost similar, all different brands. But how you take it is more important. Everybody takes it different. Everybody sweats their salt a little different, right? So I start with the 1 pill per hour. And then when it gets hotter, when I'm sweating a little bit more, I bump it up to 2. And when I feel like I am about to cramp a little bit here and there, then of course I put a little bit more often. So maybe like 30 minutes, 2 pills. And then during nighttime, I bring it down as well, because you don't want to take it too much as well. And on top of that, I mix with the electrolyte drinks. So I'm putting both pills and the drinks. Because, on a race day, hot day, you don't know what you're running into. Yeah. You don't know how much you're sweating out either. Again, there are so many brands out there. I think the most important thing is you actually taking it.
Yeah.
It's not so much of what brand you're taking it. Because I know there's LMNTs are good. There are so many different brands, but you want to try out first. And at the end of the day, you have to like the taste.
Oh,
too,
100%.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And then the money-wise, it has to be effective as well, because you don't want to spend tons of money going in there.
I know.
Right?
It starts getting expensive.
Oh,
man.
yeah, it does.
You have mentioned previously that you're using the toe socks.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more, because there's a love-hate relationship between those. Some people absolutely love them. Some people can't stand them. So tell me more. What is it? What brand is it? And what's your experience with it?
Oh, this was the first time me actually spending money on socks. Because, sometimes when you go to a race and they kind of give away as a gift or, put their name on it. But I wanted to try a brand called Injinji. I've been wearing Injinji, but then it was a little too short. But I wanted a little bit longer. And I missed out on all these sales, right? But to me, race was important. So I said, hey, I'm going to pay full price. So 2 weeks before the race, I ordered through REI and I got those kind of a little bit thinner material, not so thick. Ran 100 miles and with the 0 blisters. I was kind of amazed too. I guess it has to do with your speed and, and then what kind of shoes you're wearing it too, not just the socks by itself. And also I learned from Dan Green, who ran Cocodona 250, how he was using, so it keeps your feet dry, basically. So you apply those on your feet. And a buddy of mine told me about Leuco tape instead of KT tape to tape your toe. So I tried that too.
So you tape each individual toe?
No, I noticed when you look at your feet, you can see where hits the most. And then sometimes you have a hot spot, right? So instead of covering all my toes, I cover only a couple toes that has a
hot spot.
Yeah. I know I'm going to run into a hot spot. So I put those tapes before the race. Yeah. Ran fine.
It's interesting. Before some of my ultras, I've put baby powder on my feet.
I tried that too.
And
Gold Balm.
Anything I could do to keep my feet dry. And it's interesting, for you, the individual toe socks worked well. For me, they didn't. Like I didn't enjoy the experience, and I ended up getting blisters with it. Not even on ultras, even on shorter things. So maybe it was the wrong size. Maybe it was the combination of shoes and socks. Whereas I've heard other people really enjoy them. So once again, I think what works for one person might not work for another, and us testing and seeing what works.
Well, again, testing, you want to give enough trial.
Yeah.
If you try one time and it didn't work out, maybe you're right. It could be time of your day, or it could be your shoes. It could be something else, right?
Yeah.
So you want to kind of mix around and give enough time. And I'm sure you can return it later too, right?
Oh, totally.
So you want to give yourself a little trial, see. And I think there's great benefit in toe socks. But at the end of the day, if it's not for you, that's fine. Because I have other runner, my friend, and he's running without it and just running fine. So
you have done a variety of different races, from half marathon to like Badwater 135, UTMB. You've done Herd 100, like a variety of great races. What excites you about some of your next adventures? And like after you've done some of these, what is next to kind of keep the excitement going?
I think it's about community. When I realized, I ran AC 100 4 times. Of course, I had my own personal goal, but I really enjoy running that race because I love the community. It's not like running, when you run a marathon, you don't know anyone besides your friend, right? But when you run trail ultra races, people at the aid stations, your friend, your brothers, and they cheer you, they help you. And then all the runners are your friend too. So it's all fun family.
Yeah.
So for me, when I ran Hurt, that was another big eye opener too. That's even greater. They're even more family. So like, oh man, this race I want to come back. Not so much of the race itself, but I want to be a part of the race, and I want to like give as well. I don't want to be at the end of receiving end, right, all the time. So you want to be a part of the community and keep running it. And I'm sure there's other races too. Hard Rock is one of the good example. I'm sure people who run Hard Rock, they're so tight together, right? So that's something that I'll strive to. Makes me excited.
It is a great way you're saying that, because I've even noticed, for me to go out to certain races and to help out at an aid station, like next month we're going to be part of, like, there's a Mammoth 200-mile race, and we're going to own one of the aid stations with Path Projects. We're going to be a part of aid station at 108 miles. And we'll be serving food. We'll be helping out with the sleep station setup. And I think it's the other side of the running experience, which can bring a tremendous amount of joy. Even for me to go out at a race, like the Amsterdam Marathon is coming up, and my sister is going to be running it as her first marathon.
Wow.
And even for me to go out there and to help her out kind of in advance, or like possibly to like cheer her on the side, to be a part of her race day experience. It doesn't all have to be your own racing that can bring joy, but I think it's even another level when you sometimes are helping other people, helping the community, trail maintenance, in whatever way you can be a part of it, bigger than yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a wonderful way. So very well said there.
Yeah. So I recommend anyone to just go work at the aid station if it's possible. If you want to experience, you don't have to be a runner. You can be out there and experience what people are going through, what runners are going through, and you're actually giving. Instead of receiving it. And actually, at the end of the day, you receive a lot more by giving.
If there's any time a local race in your city, and it can be a 5K, it can be a half marathon, it can be any distance, and you send a message to the race and you say, I want to help out, I want to volunteer.
Oh yeah, they're always looking for volunteers.
They're always looking for volunteers.
Yes, they are.
And so I think that's a wonderful way of giving back. It can be a family activity. It can be a great way to show your kids some volunteer work. There's so many checks in the boxes right there.
For sure.
Yeah. So well said. Where can people find more about you? Where can people follow you?
I have an Instagram. It's called Ultra Sean Man. And it's kind of a little corny, but yeah, I'm not so really, really doing a lot of stuff. But on I have a Facebook, and it just posts whatever I can post, my races and, how I prepare sometimes, and journaling about my life.
Sean is also daily on Strava.
But I'm not a slave to Strava.
No. But I see your runs coming by there. So
yeah.
I'll make sure to put a link to those different channels as well. So that'll be good. In closing, do you have any last thoughts for runners looking to improve, to become a stronger, happier, healthier athlete?
Well, nothing in life comes, nothing valuable in life comes easy. You have to put that in a perspective where if I want to get something good, you have to work at it. So there's going to be some pain, some uncomfortableness, whatever. But trust that at the end of the day, you're going to be a winner. So have the positive attitude. And even if you don't run a race, you could be out there, just enjoy this little trail. It could be less than a mile, but just enjoy your life.
Yeah, so well said. I think once the enjoyment is in place, the results will follow.
Oh, yeah,
and that's how you approach some of your races too. And the result is showing for itself.
For sure, yeah.
Awesome. Sean, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to many more runs over here. And we'll talk again more soon.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much for watching. I really loved what Sean was saying there towards the end of when I asked him, what was your future goals? What are some of your future races and future, what do you want to do after you've accomplished many races? And he said, it's more about community now and being a part of helping other runners on that journey. And it's very recognizable to me as well. I feel like I've done quite a few races, and as much as racing, it's still enjoyable to me. It sometimes goes beyond that, where even being a part of an aid station and helping out, those things bring me a lot of joy as well, whether that is pacing, cheering on, supporting. So yeah, I can sometimes encourage you as well. If you haven't been doing much of that lately, you might be surprised how much joy you can even secondarily get from being a part of running events. Helping out friends going on their own adventure. There's a variety of different ways you can do there. I would love to hear from you. What was your favorite lesson, takeaway, or quote from this episode? Please let me know in the comments below on YouTube. The kids are back in school again. It is such a trip. After 3 months of irregular schedule, we're back to normal again. And I feel like I'm also going to be able to train a bit more consistent now. Really looking forward to getting some more consistent running in. On Sunday, it's my birthday, turning 43 years old, going on an adventure with several friends in the mountains. We're going up to Mount Baldy, 6,000 foot of climbing, so that should be a fun one. I don't know, I'm just freaking babbling right now. I hope you have a wonderful running weekend or running week ahead, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Have a good one. Bye now.